Tonight on Alaska's news source, windows in Anchorage's Spenard area smashed overnight. What we know so far on what may have happened. Plus, a 14-year-old is arrested in the Palmer area after a high-speed chase. What the teen is accused of.
There's people suffering. There's children that are hurt. There are people that are homeless.
A Mobile Medics International team is headed to the Philippines to help after last week's quake. The connection the organization has to Alaska explained.
And rainy conditions shift into the interior with coastal flood watches along the western coast.
You're watching Alaska's news source.
There's reports of at least 2 businesses' windows smashed overnight in Anchorage's Spenard area. Jackie's Place restaurant says one of their front doors was that. Despite that, they were still open today. And the Northern Bank nearby was the other property affected around 4:30 this morning. People nearby caught video of someone throwing rocks into the windows and then getting arrested. APD confirms someone was arrested in the area of the Northern Bank around the time the situation was caught on camera. The dispatch supervisor did not have details or on any charges, and there is no information yet on whether these 2 cases are related. And Alaska State Troopers say a teen was arrested this morning and is accused of stealing a vehicle and leading a high-speed chase. The report of the stolen vehicle came in early this morning in Palmer. Officers found it and tried to do a traffic stop. Troopers say the driver drove off at high speeds for about 12 miles before hitting a guardrail, and officers stopped the vehicle. The driver was identified as a 14-year-old. Troopers say the teen was wearing a ski mask and had an airsoft pistol with all orange and toy markings blacked out. The teen was arrested on multiple felony charges. We have more details on our website. Mobile Medics International is on the way to the Philippines to help after last week's major earthquake. Teresa Gray from Alaska is the founder and CEO of the organization. She says she, along with doctors each from Tanzania and Malaysia, as well as a nurse from the United States, are going there to help. This is video of the area not long after the 6.9 magnitude quake hit. It happened Tuesday evening, collapsing homes and buildings. About 70 people have died so far. More than 200 others were injured.
We'll be bringing over-the-counter medications, antibiotics, so we can suture, we can deliver babies, we can bandage wounds. So we're prepared for just about anything that we run across.
Gray says this trip is a bit personal. She and Mobile Medics International has been to the area multiple times, and she says she considers the people she's met there friends. Once the team arrives, they'll determine if more team members are needed. And Bailey, yesterday we talked about the storm in the Bering Sea. How has Alaska been impacted?
I mean, Alaska right now has just been impacted by a lot of rain, and we're even going to see more rain moving into tomorrow, and that's mostly for western Alaska. There's been some coastal flood watches that's been issued, especially moving into Tuesday and Wednesday. But just looking across the state right now at our current conditions, you can see all the moisture that we're having just in South Central alone. Now, the interior hasn't really had too much, but that's going to change moving into tomorrow. And then over in Southeast, of course, we've got a lot of rain moving on in and continuing to move on in into tomorrow, and that's from an atmospheric river that is linked to that system. So just looking at our time lapse from today, you can just see all that low-lying moisture bringing in good amounts of rainfall, moderate rainfall today, very similar to what we saw yesterday, and that was another impact from that storm out in the Bering Sea. And just with our day planner, we're going to continue to see a little bit more of a drizzle going into tomorrow, but you will have some sunnier spots compared to what we saw today. But those drizzly conditions are going to taper off by the afternoon, so you're mostly going to see that in the morning, and you can even see that looking at our precipitation trend. That's mostly happening in the morning, and then it's starting to die off into the afternoon. But high temperatures tomorrow going to be in the low 50s at 53 degrees. So just looking at our skycast, you're going to see those mostly cloudy conditions moving on through with a little bit of a light drizzle moving on through throughout the day. But then, of course, like I had mentioned, you're going to see those partly sunny skies moving on through as well. Now, across the state, you can just see all of that moisture and stormy conditions pushing along from the Aleutians, even up into the interior. And some of those wet conditions are going to push in from the west going into the interior for tomorrow. So there's going to be a little bit of a change for the interior heading into this week. But of course, you want to see the aurora sometime soon. I know I do. And if you do, we actually have moderate activity for today. So if you're in an area where you're going to have some breaks in the clouds and some more sunny or clear conditions, this is a good night to try and catch it if you can. So, Michaela, It's never a bad thing to try to catch the aurora, you know?
It's always exciting when it's in the forecast.
Yeah, it is.
Thanks, Bailey.
Thanks for listening. Click subscribe so you can get the latest podcast from Alaska's news source automatically. And stay up to date with breaking news and in-depth reporting available for free 24/7 with the Alaska's news source app.